All right, welcome back, guys. It's been a couple weeks to the SPN show. I'm here with Suneet and Preston. Let's go. We're going back into the 8 pillars, jumping into the training and meetings. But before we do, I want to hear about your guys' trip to Vegas.
Sure. Well, we all went on trips last week, which was cool. I went prior to going to Vegas, so we'll do a little segue. I went to the Driven Mastermind out in Scottsdale, which was really cool for me too. I got to go axe throwing at one of their events. If you haven't done that, it's it's pretty
I've,
entertaining.
I've never done it.
It was my first time, dude. It was good. I think Preston's gone.
Yeah,
But,
okay.
And
but
so for people that don't know, what's the Driven?
so the Driven Mastermind is a marketing, info product, coaching, e-commerce mastermind. I'm one of the few real estate people in there. The real estate people in there, the number is growing now, which is interesting. But I like coaching with those guys. Perry Belcher's a big influence on me. Jason Fladley has been cool to get to know better.
Yeah.
Qasim Aslam knows his Google stuff in the room. I'm really learning more about the Amazon space, which is fun. Like, people make a lot of money from selling Amazon brands.
Wow.
Like,
Oh yeah.
a lot. So hanging out with dudes that have sold like some Amazon brands of like friggin' cell phone cases is like little stupid.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm hanging out with those coaches, other e-commerce guys. So that's always a good event.
So you
Got
went
to
to
get you
Driven.
guys with me. What's that?
So you went to that Driven Mastermind.
Yeah, went to that. And then straight from there, at the end of that, I got on a plane and went to Vegas. The Vegas event wasn't for a few days. Preston and I had some meetings. I did a lead conversion cash machine course launch there with the webinar, which was a lot of fun, doing a webinar from a hotel room that didn't have a desk. I was like, make sure that I have a suite so I have a place to sit down. I have some room to stretch my legs. And so I have the motivation. Beautiful suite, free upgrade, no desk in the hotel room. I'm
So you were walking around.
Yeah, so I like call them and I'm like, hey, can I get a desk up here? And they say, sorry, we don't have any. All right, well,
You had a couch. You had a couch and a
yes,
dinner
had
table.
everything
You had a big
else.
dinner table.
So I took the coffee table and put like a leg rest on it, and it was almost the right angle, like a footstool on it, and it was able to present. Preston and I had the opportunity to spend some time with John Cheplak and missed you at John's house working on Reside, which that's exciting. Will be coming up soon. We'll no doubt be talking about that on here. And then the next day, John had his elite group's mastermind at his home in Vegas. There was 40 people there.
Yeah, it was 40 people. It was pretty interesting too. Like thinking about the one question he asked is how many people in this room, their team or business sold over 500 homes over the last 12 months. And like roughly 30 hands went up. So in that room, there was about 25,000 homes a year sold over the last 12 months with 40 people in that room.
Yeah.
It was a very powerful group, and it was good to hear. I mean, there were so many different people across the country, well, North America, and just to hear the things going on in the different markets, the challenges they're having, and everything else. So it was definitely a good time, and we had a taco truck at the end of the day, which was nice.
Yeah, with street corn.
Who doesn't like a taco truck?
Was there a theme that came out of any challenges? You brought that
I mean,
up.
really, yeah. The one thing that stood out to me a lot was the thing that they're always hammering on is recruiting. So if you look at the people that are struggling the most and the ones that are doing the best, the common theme is one focused on recruiting, and they had a position for that, or somebody on their team that's a partner or whatever that focuses 100% on that. And then the ones that are struggling are the ones that. The interesting thing too I shared there was January of last year, 7 agents on our team sold 41 contracts, which is a lot for 7 people.
Sure.
Those same 7 people this year were responsible for 11 contracts. So if we didn't grow as a company and a team, we would be in some serious pain as well. But that's the one thing that stood out to me the most.
That's an interesting thing. I was listening to a podcast on my bike, riding my mountain bike. I like listen to audiobooks, podcasts like you, Preston, when you run, and Suneet on the Peloton or whatever we do. And there's something called like the regression to the mean, where you might have an agent do 40 homes. And so you're thinking, oh man, they're going to do 40 again or go to 50. But chances are they're actually going to go down to 35 or 30.
Yeah.
Right. So if you don't continue to get talented people or bring people on, you could be in trouble.
Yeah, and that's something you talk about regression to the mean. I mean, you look at long-term housing stats or long-term financial stats. You could draw a line of the increase over so many years, and whenever you see it spike above that average, it's the same thing, regression to the mean. It's in everything we do. When you look at finance or home sales or whatever, if there's a massive spike, it usually falls back to that average.
But what a cool experience to go into John Sheplack's home and be hanging out. I mean, we're top operators, but to be around other people in the trenches growing and sharing is pretty powerful.
Yeah,
it was a good.
it was cool. It was cool. His son came, hung out, and they had a launch of a Cheplack Wellness. His son is an accomplished trainer, and obviously he has John's genes. So they're probably working out his whole life. In fact, he said that he has been. That he made him work out.
Oh yes, he started when he was 11.
Yeah.
He told me because I actually signed up for it.
Yeah, Preston signed up.
I've never like tracked macros or anything, so I just eat and eat. I'm like, I wonder what I could do if I track all this stuff. So I'm gonna at least do it for 3 months. We'll see.
Yeah, dude, you'll have results. Is what's going to happen.
Oh, 100%.
Oh yeah, 100%. I've never, obviously I've tracked like drinking water and things like that, but never like weighed. And what it's probably going to prove is I don't eat enough food.
100%. You already know that.
Yeah, I do. I worked through lunch. I haven't eaten lunch.
Like you need to eat more protein for sure. He's going to tell you it's fucking 210 grams of protein.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny. I just hired a nutritionist.
Did you?
Last week. That's funny. You guys did the wellness thing. We're always looking for advantages and ways to improve.
I've been tracking macros for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And I quit recently because of other stuff. But yeah.
Well, let's jump back into the 8 pillars. We did 4. We did our best. Now we're going to continually go into those pillars, I'm sure, going forward. But today we're going to be talking about training and meetings. And how does that relate to growing your team, growing your production, per agent productivity, but also recruiting? How do you utilize that?
So this is what the blurb says, right? That I wrote. Every company is different, and so every company's training and meeting schedule will look different. However, there are some best practices that businesses should follow to ensure that the employees are properly trained and accounted for. Like number 1, businesses should hold regularly scheduled meetings. Yes. Consistent and frequent in location. Number 2, the message of the company's core values and habits should be kept at the forefront of the entire organization's mind. Talk about them in meetings. And 3, this is a big one for me and probably you guys, just from John. A yearly, quarterly, monthly, or even weekly accountability process should be implemented based on KPIs in the business.
Right.
It'll ensure that employees are meeting the standards set by the company. By following these best practices, your employees will be properly trained and held accountable. So that's what that blurb says. Something that I want to add there before you guys chime in, that I think about a lot, is the training is a part of the offer, which is the first part of the 8 pillars of the team. And the reason that being is I realized prior to writing this is that entire organizations, real estate organizations, their 90% of their offer is their friggin' training. I don't think we need to say any names, but people call themselves training companies instead of real estate companies. So when that is 90% of your offer, well, number one, me as a savage recruiter, specifically to that company when I started, because that's where I came from, I wanted that to be forefront. So no one can say that somebody has better training than me. Right? So my offer is stronger there.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was just writing in my book that's coming out soon about unique. That's funny, little plug. Unique selling propositions. And so you're saying your training is a unique selling proposition, part of your offer. Now, other teams and companies also say that, but
Yes.
Suneet's saying, I'm the best, and I'm going to outmarket you in terms of training. I'm going to outposition you in training, and then you actually deliver it. So I'm curious from you guys, what do you actually do? What's your training schedule like? Meeting schedule, training schedule.
So I just posted mine in the group yesterday, but since many of our listeners aren't in the group, I'll just give a macro view. Number one, and I think this is true for the three of us, multiple businesses, multiple projects, multiple everything. I still want to be impactful. But for me, where I'm at, and maybe this is unfair to a lot of the viewers because you guys aren't there yet, I want to be as impactful as I can without having to be in there all the time. So that being said, I want to have some really key meetings that I consistently hold 80% of the time where I can be impactful in those times. Number one. Number two, so that's my view. That's 3 times a week, a huddle Monday, a huddle Friday, 30 minutes. And, I probably do those 60% of the time due to my travel schedule. And then a weekly meeting on Tuesdays at 11. In fact, if any of our listeners ever wants to just zoom into one of our meetings, just send us a DM here and I'll totally send you the link. But I do that about 90% of the time.
So huddle Monday, huddle Friday, weekly team meeting.
That's it from Suneet.
That's Suneet. Preston, what's your weekly schedule like? And when you say huddle, I'm curious on the huddle. Is that operations staff or agents?
Well, so I do a huddle with my agents. I do a huddle with my ISAs. I do a huddle with my operations staff. I do a huddle with marketing, and I do a huddle with management.
So you're a huddle, impact. Then they're off to the races.
Impact, and then I'm pretty much done.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, working on your projects and making your.
Then I'm working on Reside or other lead stuff, right? Marketing.
Yeah. Preston, what's your training and meeting schedule like on a weekly basis?
So we have our company meetings Wednesday morning, every Wednesday at 8:30. And we have an EOS leadership meeting on Tuesdays at 8:15. So that's with the leadership team. And we just go over any kind of issues we're having. Issues don't have to be bad, right? Issues could be other things that we want to do that, we don't have the time to do or whatever. So those are Tuesday. Then we have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we have our Agent Excellence program, which is 4 times a year, 7 weeks each time. That's Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 8:30 to 1 p.m. And then we have another meeting on Tuesday, Sharpen the Axe. We have an accountability meeting on Thursdays. And those are all consistent. So the Agent Excellence program isn't always going on. 7 weeks. It's usually 7 weeks on, 4 weeks off, start another one, 7 weeks.
That's new agent training.
Yeah, new agent. So it's brand new agents to the business, or they've been in the business for say less than 18 months. They didn't find success where they were at previously, so they came on board. We put them through that. Like we have there's one currently going on now. We have 12 agents going through it, and our next one starts July. I want to say it's July 10th, and we already have 7 enrolled in that one. So we set them up, and we have them pretty close to full, pretty, and we're starting to get more and more, right? Like
that's 4 times a year. 4 times a year.
Agent 4 times a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you do your weekly meeting on Wednesdays.
Wednesday.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. So
Interesting. Yeah.
I do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 9 to 9:40. Monday is training. Tuesday is the team meeting, like agenda, very specific agenda that's consistent, a consistent agenda with nuances. And then Wednesday is another training, sales training, process training, or type of accountability. I mix it up based on where the market's at. I've been consistent 3 days a week for 10 years.
Yeah.
Now, when I bring on new agents, we go 8 to 8:40, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, kind of like your agent excellence. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4. It depends on the group and how fast they accelerate, but 30 to 90 days.
Yeah.
Now, what is it? Now, let's dive into that weekly meeting, because I find coaching people, as you guys coach people, is they want to know what we talk about. How do you run a really effective meeting? Like
Well,
what really moves the needle?
I want to add something just real quick because, and then I'm happy to answer that.
Yeah.
Is I have 2 to 3 trainings optional every day
Oh,
on my team. It is stacked. I have the best training. I'm certain of it. It is stacked. Optional trainings nonstop.
optional training. Okay, Preston, do you do optional training or is it mandatory? That's a question people ask themselves.
No, we have some optional training as needed, whether it's in Follow Up Boss or Sierra, the app or whatever. So we have that as well. We do have some like when they start, when they
Same.
onboard, there's mandatory. They
That's
have to go through.
mandatory.
Yeah, but it's more kind of as needed,
So
right? Like
like
somebody could be a savage in Follow Up Boss. There's no
this is
need for
ongoing, right? Because there's a
Ongoing.
difference. We aren't talking
ongoing.
about onboarding and enrollment. We're talking about
Yeah.
ongoing.
Yeah, that's
And
what I'm talking about as well, ongoing.
yeah, and I like this. I don't do mandatory ongoing either.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Suneet, why is yours not mandatory?
Well, let me tell every team leader listening, the more mandatory stuff that you put out there, the more energy you're going to feel.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you'll
That's
never
just
get
what
100.
it really
You'll
comes
never
down
get
to.
100%. You'll never get.
Well,
100%.
you also gotta ask yourself too, why do people get into real estate?
Freedom.
What's the big reason? Freedom. Exactly. So if
Yes.
you're throwing a bunch of mandatory shit at them, what are they going to do? They're going to free their ass and go somewhere else.
Oh, for sure. And if they show up, that was their choice.
Yeah.
Right. And so they're going to be more likely to respond to the training.
My huddles and my meetings are not mandatory either. I say, look, you don't have to come. Just understand, if you want opportunities, they're directly tied to whether or not you show up. If you don't want opportunities, I don't want to give them to you.
Yeah.
That's okay. If you're off, that's okay. If you have too many leads, don't want to show up to the meeting, that's okay. But don't come to me and say that you want leads and I ain't seen your ass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if it's immediate feedback whether or not our training's any good. Suneet's saying his training's pretty good because people show up.
It's the best.
Yes. It's the best. Well, I don't know. Come to my training. Go to agent. But
I mean, I haven't been to one of the trainings in a while, Nick. It's been a couple of years, but I want to assume that it's the best.
But we all here know we take that seriously. Our training, like we want it to be the best. So, and I need to get people to want to show up, and so I have to be bringing them what they want, what they need. Because
so who leads? Well, yeah. Question for both of y'all: who leads the training? Who leads the trainings? Do y'all rotate it with agents, or is it management, or
Dale, Anna? It's Dale, the sales manager, runs a bunch of them. Anna, who is director of agent development,
okay,
I think is her title. She's going to tell me that I said it wrong. But Anna, who Preston, I think Nick, you may have met her. Anna runs a bunch of them. Nick Sievers, my ops manager, runs some, and my ISA manager, the ones that she runs for the agents, usually is the most popular. Maybe they all want to kiss her butt.
Yeah, I think it's good to have if you have a really good listing agent, a lot of times they'll step
100%.
up and run those, so, and you'll see, like you just said, when it's people outside of leadership doing it, a lot of times more people show up.
Here's the thing too, is everybody listening and watching Number one, thank you. Number two, just because I said that I have all these managers, I am not advising you to go out and do that. Okay, like let's be really clear. You do not need a handful of managers like I have.
Right. But if you have these people with talent and skills, you need to allow them the opportunity to train it.
Yes,
I learned this too. I had some top producers. They're like, Nick, I don't need to come to your training anymore because I already know it all. I've been with you for 5 years. Okay, that's kind of true because I am a little repetitive and you are crushing it, right? I can't deny that. You're selling 40 homes a year. How about this? Would you be willing to come to the meeting and share what works for you? I noticed you're really good at this. And then they show up to the meeting.
Oh yeah, then they come.
Then they come
Informal
because they get
leaders,
that
dude.
spotlight. And not all of them want to do that, but then they like how and then attendance goes up and things like that. Who
Yeah,
runs
one of the meetings that we have, like you talk about company meetings, one of the ones that they all love is when we do a mastermind at the end of it, like a 30, 45-minute
Same.
mastermind, and just talk about what's working, what's not working, what are you having success with? Because you got to think, with a bigger team, a lot of these agents, they don't get to interact much with, say, the one doing 30 million a year. So it gives them an opportunity to ask questions and when they may not throughout the rest of the week.
Do you do that too, Sunny? How do you get people to have that engagement at the end? Like what's working, what's not working? Do you have certain go-to questions?
So this is a really relevant question. Is during my meeting, I recognize people that are achieving the results that I want to encourage,
Yeah.
and I have them talk during the meeting. And a lot of my meetings are because just like you, well, not like just like you guys, but for my length, it's been a long time, and I can't tell people to go post on social media anymore. I can't tell people to friggin', post on social media, make more calls, whatever, do fucking attend the training. I can't do that anymore. So I recognize these people and let them really talk. I tend to recognize people who are converting leads at a high level. Maybe that's my culture. I don't know. However, Dale Kogan, who I hope he listens to this one day because I just gave him 2 shout outs. Dale Kogan, he's an employee. I'm gonna make him listen, so now he's gonna hear this. But
Yeah.
Dale Kogan runs an agent roundtable twice a month.
Mm.
And he packs it. He facilitates that meeting. They love it. They always feel so good after that.
Yeah.
But as far as sales meeting, the structure goes is for the longest time, I thought it was a training opportunity first, and I don't think that it needs to be. My format is consistent. Open the meeting, try and make it lighthearted, talk about the market, bring in my mortgage people. I own a mortgage company, and I give them that opportunity to discuss the market. That never fails to lead to a bunch of questions. I bring up all the conversion reporting numbers for a 30-day view, 60-day view, 30-day view, 90-day view, 6-month view. And I bring that up. I show everybody what the average is, and I show everybody who's above average, and I call them out.
So they have the leaderboard. They know where they fit in.
It makes people sweat, and I love it. And then someone always says, "Well, that's not right." I'm all, "Yeah, bullshit. Let's look." Oh, yeah. So then I go through that, and then I do something like, what's working and what's not working.
Yeah.
We're back to multiple offers here in Sacramento. It's currently April 27th here in Sacramento when we recorded this, and we're back to multiple offers, and it's a big challenge out there. So I like to spend energy on that. And it's not a training opportunity. If you want to do a specific training, schedule a specific training.
That's a meeting, not a training. There's a there's a difference there people need to understand. There's a meeting once a week or whatever, and then there's training.
And yes, and I think it's okay to
you can mix, you can add value in the training.
Yes, but I think it's also okay to throw some fire accountability in there. Right? Pepper it in. It's not an accountability meeting. We have those.
And it's not calling people out of the blue. I've made that mistake where I do that and I come in a little hot, a little spicy in front of the group. Sometimes if I know I'm going to hold someone accountable to Suneet, Preston, I might bring them aside. Hey, is it okay if I share this with the group? Get their permission. Depends on the person, you know, your personnel.
If somebody is slipping and they need to be called out publicly, I will make sure it's somebody who's asked for hot sauce.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
ask him. I'm like, hey, dude, like, what flavor of hot sauce did he ask for? Oh, hot. Oh, well, it's on right now. You
It's
get
on,
that,
it's
right?
on.
What the are
Yeah.
you doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can come in through the back door and say, who can share something that's working? Great, awesome. Who can share someone that's struggling? Suneet, you have anything to share? We were talking about something the other day. Do you want to share it with the group?
That's great involvement, Nick.
And you know, it'd be a little vulnerable, like, hey, you had a deal that fell through, or you're struggling with sales. We're talking about it. What's going on there? Because maybe someone can help you here.
I think that's a great idea that I don't do enough of.
Yeah, it's like who can help them? Like, I want people to reach out for help. It's hard because we're really fearful to ask for help when we're struggling.
Oh, 100%.
Otherwise, it comes across as excuses. I need help, but here's all my excuses why it's not working. You know, it's like, whatever. Preston, what's your schedule like, man? What's your training like? Your meeting right? That was awesome, City. I mean,
Yeah, I mean the meeting is similar. We open it up. We highlight people that are doing really well. Highlight them. We talk about listings like a lot of people I'm sure do. New agent. We have new agents in the room, so we introduce them to it. And then it gives us an opportunity to, like, we don't have a mortgage company, so we have lender partners that help pay for leads, so they get an opportunity once.
Well, you don't have one anymore.
Yeah.
But if you have a lender partner, Suneet has his own company. Preston, maybe, are you starting one?
No. I had one before we started Palms Realty.
You had the huge one.
But it gives our lender partners a chance to bring stuff in and to speak and everything else. And
that's a huge value. That's a huge value to get access to your team and have a spotlight.
Oh, huge.
Correct. And just make sure when you do that you take advantage of, we have 12,000 hours coming in a month to help pay for leads because of that. So, it's definitely something, unless you're like Suneet bringing in a ton of money with his mortgage company. But if you're not, it's a good way to, for the things like leads and to help pay for that, because we all know leads are expensive.
100%. My lender conversion was down, right, on the buy side, more cash deals, not loans. And I said, listen, man, you have an opportunity once a week to have all the eyes and ears of these agents, right? Use it. And so he stepped up his game and he's coming prepared, right?
Dude, add them to your Slack, add them to your Facebook group, like, get them in there, 100%.
So Suneet, Preston, acknowledgments. I heard that from Suneet too, like you're pointing out.
Acknowledgments of behavior to encourage that behavior.
Almost at the forefront of it. And then you went over listings, your lender. What else, Preston?
Yeah, that's something about listings, not to interrupt you 100%, maybe only 50%, but I have forgotten. Yeah, I messed up. I don't discuss the new listings in the office meeting, and that's like half the point of it.
Yeah, and then we'll do, company news. We'll do a lot of these meetings. We'll end up doing mastermind meetings at the end of it. We always end in the meeting. We're actually changing it up a little bit. We're going to start doing one monthly meeting in person because we have 110 agents now. And then, this week 2, 3, and 4 of the month, we're going to do Zoom meetings. And we still have a lot of agents that come in, but it's a problem because the amount of cars we have.
Yeah, you can have parking for that.
Yeah.
So what we're starting to do is we're going to start doing the main big meeting offsite, feed them breakfast, spend $1,000, $1,500, whatever, to, bring them in, and then they'll show up. Everybody will show up, and then go over, a little bit longer meeting there. But we have so much trainings throughout the week and so many different things that they could attend. And the big meeting, we don't allow that one on Zoom. So has to be in person.
Dude, the biggest point of the weekly meeting for me, like, while I like that idea, I still want to have one every week. I've been planning those meetings via Zoom. In fact, this time there was only 2 agents in my office. I still go. That's the 1 week of the 1 day of the week I go into the office usually.
Yeah.
But I want the platform to hammer conversion for people that want leads.
Well, you have all these opportunities. You want to make sure that you're meeting the opportunities and make sure you have the capacity. I like the weekly meeting because it tells me who's busy, who's not busy. If they miss a meeting, do they miss 2 in a row? I got to reach out to them. What's going on? It gives me some
Yeah,
feedback.
I think when we do the Zoom meetings, like week 2, 3, and we haven't even discussed this. This is just my thinking. We're still going to have the people that love coming into the office for those meetings that still show up. They'll just be in a room with us while we're doing a Zoom. And it
So,
might be
but you
10.
guys at Palms have one mandatory meeting a month in person.
Yes, and we just rolled that out in May. Before it was every week, and
In May or in March?
and no, we rolling that out in May.
Oh, you're rolling it out. Okay.
Yeah, and we tried to do. It's hard with that many people to do mandatory. We just say it's the expectation, and then when we look at like handoffs and things like that because we track like every week, part of EOS, part of the things we go over, how much attendance did we have last week? And it's a number we track every single week. So that way we know if we need to reach out to certain people.
That's it.
And that's we track that number every single week. The
We
attendance across
we
all things, across meetings, across trainings, everything. Because if your attendance is down in one thing, then maybe you switch it up and change it to something else. But you
every
wouldn't
single
change the meeting,
every single meeting we do, we run in the attend. Cortland and I behind the scenes are keeping the attendance, and we call and reach out to everyone that didn't make it.
Yeah.
And we also want the experience in the meeting to be in training to be so good that there's like a fear of missing out. Like I missed out on that one. I heard it was really good. More people talking about it. My call. I don't know when I call people if they didn't make the meeting. It was, hey Suneet, hey, sorry I missed you at the meeting. It was really good. I think you could have added a lot of value. And that's it. And normally they're like, well, I'm so sorry. I had this going on or I was out showing. I also have an expectation. It's not a mandatory meeting, but I do expect out of respect that you just tell me why you can't make it.
Yeah.
Send me a text, send Cortland a text and just say, hey, you got a showing. I understand. You got a showing. You got an inspection, right? I understand you can control it. I used to be a little more hardcore, like you can control your schedule better. There's nothing more important than this. But when you start growing, right, you start getting a big team, 30, 40, 50, you guys are 100 plus agents.
Dude, energy. That's the thing are you going to spend your energy being upset about somebody who doesn't want to come to your meeting? Like that is the worst spend of energy.
Yeah.
It's the worst. It's the worst. And when you have a low attendance, don't be focusing on those people that didn't make it because you're gonna be upset and angry. I used to be just fiery, and I'm taking it out on the people that showed up. And I'm like, wait a second, Nick. Like, I need to be not ripping the people that aren't here in front of these people. I need to just spend my energy on supporting the people that showed up. And it's hard to do. It is really hard to do. So how do you end a meeting? So there's a beginning of the meeting and then there's the end. And also, how do you end a meeting strong? I find that's super important. Oftentimes I let meetings go too long. If there's a mistake I've made is allowing them to lag on. So how long are your meetings and how do you end them?
45 minutes. And when I'm done, I say, all right, well, that's it. Go out there and crush it.
Yeah.
And then I just hang up the Zoom. I just make it super abrupt.
I mean, similar thing. A lot of times we'll end with something, whether it's, they want to do some training or whatever. But a lot of times I'm having to run out the door because they're lasting too long. I had to go to another meeting. So Josh, Nick, and Travis and Tripp end up closing them out.
Yeah, I had the hardest time, so I just say the same thing every time at the end. And then when they hear that, they know it's over. And what's nice about Zoom, you can just click the button, but
what do you say?
Yeah, I say,
what do you say?
I say, all right, everybody, let's go out there and sell homes. I say, go sell some homes. I say, go sell some homes. Boom. I'll change it up, you know. All right, go sell some homes. Sell some homes. I mean, that's what we're here to do, right? So,
Yeah,
Dude,
100%.
I learned a lot from this just now. It's everything I can do to not like start sending emails to my managers. That's how I know.
I could tell when Suneet's really, really grinding and thinking about something. He sits back and he's staring off, and he's quiet for that unusual 30 seconds when he's quiet.
He's crossing his arms to prevent himself from typing.
Yes, it's true. Yeah.
Like, you guys need to be on this.
But that's how we know we did a good podcast.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there's so many keys in there, and we've had so many reps at it. You know, we've done these things so many times. Anything else we can add to the meeting? As we wrap up this podcast on meetings,
I think the big takeaway, you guys, is the meeting is not the training. It doesn't have to be the training. And so that's something that I struggled with, because then that's pressure on format.
And you got to think too, a lot of the people come into the meeting just to see everybody, you know, so a lot, like some of the people that come to those meetings don't necessarily want to do training, and it just gives them I think ours are, you know, it's a good chance for all of them to get together, to see each other, and to, you know, because they'll end up hanging out and, you know, talking for 30 minutes after the meeting, you know, as a group of 60 or 70 people. So it's, you know, those, and the things for us too, like you guys have them as well. I mean, we have certain things quarterly that we do every quarter that, you know, are different, you know, something that we don't do weekly, but we do every quarter to hold the agents accountable, but also to get feedback, you know, to get feedback from the agents, so get them involved. And do you guys do anything like monthly out of office social? I mean, that's not,
dude, I just canceled one. We're supposed to have one tonight, but I came, I mean, real easy. My whole social out of office, 80% of that is for recruiting. I'll say it. And and I got home, it's part of me being a seagull when I landed and getting back to work on Monday after being gone for a week. I was like, we have an event this week. How many emails were sent out? None. Cancel the sucker. Where's my damn SOP? Cancel it. So,
and that these social events, Suneet, you're inviting other agents from other industries, or
16,000 other agents.
Yeah. So your team comes and, hey, open the doors. Give me an example of a social event.
Happy hour.
Oh, of course. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, we put together a social committee of agents. So we have 4 agents in our social committee, and they're responsible for setting it up. So our first one we ever did, we did paintball. We had about 28 people, I think, at paintball. And then
that makes me nervous for liability, dude. Like, come on, really?
Dude, it's not running around our office.
Carolinas, dude.
I know.
Yeah, they have to sign a waiver. We don't say you have to show up. I mean, yeah, it's off-site. We don't put it in our office and give people payment.
They were like,
yeah, I think you have more liability.
Pellet guns.
You have more liability. Send them to happy hour, and then they go home and they drive off the road.
They got non-lethal.
Suneet was feeding me alcohol.
Trust me. I know all about that. Yeah. Anyhow.
So think about it. This is the way I think about it. You got training, you got meetings, and then you got cultural team building events, which are outside. Yeah. And those are huge too. We did a committee too, where I gave them a budget and they had to come up with something every month, once a month.
Yeah. That's what we do as well. You know, they have $500 a month, and
Yeah. It goes along with
that. Nice.
What's good about it though is, a lot of them, we actually end up getting sponsored by somebody that wants to be in front of those agents. So,
well, you had better get a sponsor. That's another one of my rules. Yeah. I tell them, my staff, we're not doing this unless we have a sponsor. Now, since I own all the companies that we deal with, I'm the sponsor every time. And it's really just different credit cards that all bleed down to me, but I'll just run with it. Yeah.
Well, that just reminded me we're behind the 8 ball on social events, the team building events.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you kind of start forgetting about that when production and sales, you're only thinking about lead conversion, only being about sales. But how does that impact sales? Preston, do you see an direct? Is that indirect, direct impact on productivity?
Indirect. I mean, I would say indirect.
Yeah, it's indirect for sure. But I mean, what it does, like Suneet's talking about, it's more, although you want to enjoy your time with the agents, that's all over social. That's everywhere. All the agents posting the things they're doing. So, it's definitely helps with recruiting. It definitely helps, people open their eyes and say, oh, my company doesn't do that, and the other thing is the client parties as well. I mean, it's something to think about, like your past clients. We do all these things to generate more leads, to bring in more leads and everything else. Set a budget aside to have something for your clients yearly. I mean, if you invite 500, 100 show up?
That's
150,
so awesome. It's so awesome.
75.
Suneet invites other people because the other agent at the other office is thinking, if I were to change, will I be accepted?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I invite everybody.
yeah,
16,000.
I
Although
love
I think none of them get my emails, if you want to know what I really think, but
it.
that's
Yeah.
a different episode. That's a different episode about email.
You're in trouble. You're in trouble when they get the invite.
Yeah. Cool, guys. Well, I hope everybody learned something from today's episode. I did.
Yeah, me too.
I got notes. And I love that we record this because I can just send it to some manager and say all the stuff that I said was exciting. Just do that. But if you did learn something, please make sure that you're subscribed and that you liked it. Share it with a friend. Like, we don't have any ads on this, and we're not really selling anything. So the biggest compliment from anybody who got any value would be a review or a subscribe or just share with a friend. Right, guys? Anything else you want to do before we close up?
No, we'll be
No,
back. We'll be more announcements, and watch the other podcasts that we've done. Find us on your favorite podcast or YouTube, the SPN show, and reach out to us. We're not that far away. You can find us on social. Suneet said you can join his meeting. He talked about an SOP. I want to get my hands on that SOP and run a kick-ass meeting, because it's the one time a week you got full attention. You can make major impact.
Yep. Cool.
Right, guys?
Later.
see ya.